It's time for JUCO Jam, presented to you by Dream Big Athletics, hosted by Tad Slowick, an exciting new podcast bringing you all the great action from JUCO baseball. Here you'll find weekly updates from around the country, highlighting the teams, players, and coaches who impact the game at the junior college level. Everything you want to learn about JUCO baseball can be found here and on our website at dreambigathletics.com. There you'll find our weekly team rankings, the top player rankings headed into the spring, and all the news of what is happening in the game at the junior college level. On this show, you will have many guests, coaches, players who will give us insight on the day-to-day, behind-the-scenes working of junior college baseball. And now our host, Tad Slowick.
Welcome, baseball fans, to another exciting episode of the JUCO Jam podcast, brought to you by Dream Big Athletics. I'm your host, Tad Slowick, and I got with me my good friend and buddy and companion, Lou Tempo. Lou, how you doing today?
Ooh, fishing's fine, Tad Slowick. Here we go. This is really exciting because today we're going to jump right into it on our predictions for the regional playoffs, the district playoff winners for Division I. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into it on the road to Grand Junction, which, Tad Slowick, you have your crystal ball. You've seen these teams play. You know the matchups. So we're going to jump right off into the Appalachian region, 7 and 17, 7 being in our good friends area down in there in Tennessee. What happens down in Tennessee?
Well, Tennessee is going to be a tough one this year. Walter State is usually the favorite over there, but they're going to get some stiff competition this year from Dyersburg State, which has been a little up and down, but, they beat Walter State 2 out of 3 in the last series that they played at the end of the year. Chattanooga State always gets hot this time of year and plays well. They got a good club. And Southwest Tennessee put together a great season, 41-14. They're swinging the bats good. They got Colton Brumley, who's 12-2 with 120 Ks there. So, they're going to have something to say in this region here. But I think Walter State just has too much firepower. They're hitting 356 as a team. 579 homers. They're averaging 12-plus runs a game, 110 home runs, which is over 2 a game. I mean, their offensive weapons are just unbelievable, and they got the pitching to back it up, too. So I think Walter State prevails here in Region 7.
Walter State coming out of Region 7, and even if you do get some good pitching performances, you really got a deal against that offense. That's incredible, and, of course, you just had Walter State on for a really great visit with Coach Shelton. And so we're grabbing them out of Region 7. Moving on to Region 17, just down the road in Georgia. What do you have that area, Tad?
Yeah, it's going to be a highly contested region. Georgia Highlands has had a real solid year. South Georgia State has come on really good late at the end of the year. And I saw Andrew early in the year, and they are capable of playing some really good baseball. So Georgia Highlands, to me, is the team that's going to come out of this region. And then they're going to end up facing Walter State, and I think Walter State prevails. Georgia Highlands is a good club. I don't think they had as good a club as they had last year. So I think Walter State heads to Grand Junction out of this district.
Well, there you go. And, Highlands has been playing really well all year. They've not been under the radar by any means, but they're kind of quiet and violent. But, again, Walter State with that offensive prowess, they're going to be tough to beat. Moving on to the East District regions of 10, 15, and 20. These games start on the 12th of May through the 14th. Big baseball being played out of Region 10 for sure. And tell me what your thoughts are out of Region 10 down there in the East District.
I mean, the big news is Flodar Tech, after having a great year. We've had them like in the top 5 all year and everything, and they end up getting knocked out. They lost a couple games in the Region 10 playoffs, and they end up getting knocked out of that.
That's a huge upset. Who would have saw that coming at all?
Right. And so I have Gaston winning here. I mean, Trey Truitt has got 12 bombs for them. Nolan Stranero on the mound has 10 wins. And they're just a well-balanced team. They got a lot of depth, and I think Gaston comes out of here. Their opponent in this will be Region 20 winner Hartford is going to come out of there, and Hartford again had a little slow start this year, but they finished pretty strong. I just think Gaston has too much firepower for him, too much pitching. I think Gaston prevails over Hartford. Hartford had that great run to the World Series last year, but I think this is where the buck stops, and I think I got Gaston going to Grand Junction.
Okay, moving on to the Mid South Region 14. This one is exciting always, and I always feel like here's where we see some upsets potentially. This is May 13th to the 15th out of Region 14. What do you like, Tad?
Yeah, well, Blinn has been a good strong team all year. They'll be playing at home. They're hosting, and they got Tanner Reeves, who was our number 7 player on our top 10 list of
Right.
best prospects. He's got 12 homers. Cody Pfeffer down there, freshman pitch, has got under a 1 ERA. They're well balanced. They got great catching. They're strong up the middle. They got good bullpen. They're going to be an awful tough team to beat. But then there's looming the perennial power of San Jacinto. They just haven't seemed to put it together as well this year as they have in years past. But they're always still dangerous. And then Paris up north has put together a good season, and they're going to have something to say about it. And then you got Alvin lurking around a little bit too, but I just think it's Blinn's year. Things have been going their way. They've been playing very good baseball. They got the talent to back it up. So I think Blinn punches their ticket to Grand Junction this year.
This respectfully, I'm gonna go against you on this one, Tad, and I'm gonna look for San Jack to get hot and play great. The team's gonna climb on Big Jake Bennett's back, and maybe overcome Blinn. Although respectfully, Blinn has had an incredible season with all kinds of performances going on. So maybe we'll disagree on that one and see how it turns out. But I'll take San Jack, you take Blinn. Moving on to Midwest District. This would be districts 4, 11, and 24. They play the 17th through the 20th of May this month. What's going on there?
I like Iowa Western. They had kind of a little rough patch during the middle of the year here after a great start, but they're finishing strong, closing strong. I just think that they got quite a bit of talent here. Indian Hills is going to give them a little bit of a hard time, but I think they prevail. Brandon Rogers has 13 homers, Tyler Stone with 11, Brian Ryerson and Ethan Lujan have been dominant on the mound and really pitching well down the stretch, and they are going to end up prevailing.
Yeah, Iowa Western, they had such a great start to their season, and they've played so well. So they're the team to beat in that region. Moving on to 24.
Yeah, I mean, 24 is always contested to me between the big two. It's Wabash Valley and John Logan. The Wabash got the best of them early on. When they played early in the season, and Wabash has just is bringing it really good together. They went on a very big hot streak at the end of the year and are playing good baseball. They got a very solid lineup and good pitching and depth to make a run. So I think Wabash Valley prevails over John Logan out of there, even though John Logan's, they got Ben Higdon, our number 3 prospect on their team, and they got some good pitching also. But I mean, that could be a toss up, but I got to pick somebody, and it's going to be Wabash Valley.
It'll be a dogfight, but I do like Wabash Valley on this one as well. And then, of course, in Region 4, you have your pick to click there.
Yeah. I mean, it's usually South Suburban and Triton, the 2 strong teams up there in that region. I think Steve Ruzich always has his team ready. They're playing real good baseball here down the stretch. I think South Suburban prevails and moves on to the district there. And then between, Iowa Western, Wabash Valley, South Suburban, I like Iowa Western to come out of there. I just think they got too much overall talent and depth, the thing that really plays here in the playoffs. Just enough firepower to withstand all those grueling regions and districts. And, I think Iowa Western ends up punching their ticket to Grand Junction.
Heading to Grand Junction, Iowa Western. They've had a great year, and they've also gone through some hills and valleys a little bit. So they're able to deal with some adversity and overcome. We've watched them do that. Hey, moving on to Plains Region 6. This will play the 17th through the 21st of May. It's really interesting, this region, actually.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think Johnson County is the more of the perennial favorite for this region. But they're going to get to some battle. Barton's had a good year. Barton's really played well, won a lot of games, and Cowley's a team that goes to the World Series all the time, and they were runners up last year. They haven't played as well as I think they're capable of playing, and we may see a strong showing out of them in the region. And then Neosho County's been in our top 40 this year, and so has Cloud County. Cloud County's got some good pitching, but at the end of the day, Johnson County, I think, is just too strong. They got Jeremy Rader, Dagan Brewer, to lead their offense, guys that can swing the bat. And that whole lineup in general is really strong. On the mound, I mean, they got some really good depth pitching wise. Out in the rotation, they got Cole Kuntz, Luke Flata, Gabe Nutter, Ty Blecka. And then out of the bullpen, they got John Chambers and Maddox Burkett to come out of the pen for them. So I think they're awfully strong. They're going to get challenged, no doubt. And but I think Johnson County heads to Grand Junction here.
All right. Well, I'll go with you on that one, but keep your eye on Cowley. They've been tough all year, and they're competitive, like you say. They've got experience to the road to Grand Junction, so I think Johnson County won't walk through that region. Let's just put it that way.
No, most of these clubs are going to be tested. Nothing's going to be easy for anybody here.
No, especially in this next region, the South Region 22. This starts up May the 11th through the 16th. Really good region baseball right here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Wall Stothen's been the most consistent team. They got Cade Snell, a left-handed pitcher, going to Alabama, who's going to lead them on both offense and defense. He's their leading hitter, too, and, they need him to come up big in this. Wallace State is going to give them a battle. That's a pretty good rivalry there. And then Snead State made their run to the World Series last year. I think they're going to be a formidable opponent here that might make some noise. But at the end, Wallace Dothan's been the most consistent out of all these teams all year, and they're going to head to Grand Junction this year.
Staying with the South, in the South Atlantic region, and this region is just packed. And I think this is really going to be exciting. It'll be a tough one to pull. But what do you think out of Region 8 on the 12th to the 15th of May, this region starts?
Yeah, it's at Joker Marchant, a field we know well. We've all played on there, Lou, right? And so it's a familiar surroundings, and it's some familiar surroundings for these teams too. And it's just going to be one heck of a battle. I mean, I call it the Florida Final Four. You got Central Florida, Miami-Dade, Northwest Florida, and State College of Florida. All these teams are very talented teams. There's no one lacking ability out of this group of four. But Central Florida, I just think, has just too much firepower, too much consistency on the mound, too many arms, too many bats, and I think they're going to prevail. Miami-Dade is always a power, and they're going to have something to say about it. They played Central Florida last year in the finals of this, and Central Florida had to eke it out at the end to go to Grand Junction last year. Northwest Florida has those big arms up there, and they've been playing pretty well lately down the stretch. And State College of Florida has Michael Fourette, and he's a guy who can win games for him. Kevin Carsetter swinging the bat for him, and going to be awfully good. But I can't go against Central Florida. I just think that it's their year. They've been the top team all year, and I think this is their year to make a great run at Grand Junction too.
If there was an upset in this tournament, Tad, who would you say could knock Central Florida off for your money?
Well, I mean, any of these teams, but I mean, Miami-Dade is always has the pedigree. Miami-Dade always
Right.
seems to be, you think like, well, they're just had a good year, but not a great year. But, you know, always at the end, they seem to show up and play for a chance to go to Grand Junction. So Miami-Dade has the pedigree.
And as always, yeah, as always, it gets down to who's got the arms on the mound, who's pitching the best, and you still feel Central Florida takes the cake there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt they got depth there, and all these teams have good pitching. So I mean, it's going to be one whale of a battle. No one's going to have an easy time of it, and they're all going to get beat up a little bit during this process. But I just can't root against, or not root against, but can't go against.
Gotcha. Well, this next region, the South Central, regions 2, 16, and 23, playing the 18th of May through the 20th. And this region is crowded, pardon the pun. What's going on here?
Yeah, Crowder from Region 16. They're going to win Region 16. They've been playing really good baseball towards the end. Their freshmen are really coming of age and have really contributed real well. They got some veteran guys. They were at the World Series last year, and they're just going to be awfully tough to beat here down the stretch. They got Josh Livingston and Colton Reynolds just tearing it up offensively. On the Mount Ashton Branson is 10-0. They got Josh Barnhouse, the veteran pitcher for them, 6-1 from last year's team. And then Carson Richard out of the pen, the big strong arm, a guy who could close down the games. It's a lot of firepower. In Region 2, I think Connor State's going to win that. They got our guy Brady Serkonic, who just had a monster year. I mean,
Yeah,
he could.
crazy
Yeah, I
year.
mean, he could basically be player of the year. He was number 6 on our top 10 prospects list. And, he's got 26 homers and 106 RBIs, over 100 RBIs this year. And I mean, that's an incredible
That's
season.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
unbelievable.
and Connor State, 40 plus wins. I mean, they've had a great year as a team. Also, they split their series with Crowder during the year. And then you can't forget Delgado. Delgado's had a great year, record wise, and I just think that Delgado doesn't have enough to hang with Connor State and Crowder. I think they'll play in that final game for the championship here in this district. And, I see Crowder just having the experience and the pedigree to take care of Connor State and kind of spoiling their Cinderella year. So I think Crowder moves on.
Moving on to the South Region 5, another great region because there's been some really good baseball played out of this region. This starts the 12th of May through the 16th. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, this is talk about loaded with quality teams. We talked about how loaded Florida was with all those good
Right,
teams there, and there's just so many good teams in this region, and it's more well balanced. Usually McLennan's and Midland are usually jump out as a little bit of favorites, but this year you got plenty of depth on these teams. You got Weatherford, who could win it. McLennan, who went to the World Series last year. You got Midland, who's got a strong team again, and then New Mexico. New Mexico has really been playing well down the stretch here. And any of these three, I mean, McLennan, Midland, and New Mexico have a chance to win it. But I'm going to go with Weatherford. They're at home also, though. They're hosting this, and they
okay,
got that great complex down there. They're at home. They're feeling good. They're feeling strong. They got Robin Villeneuve, who's just had an unbelievable year. He was in our top 10 prospects, 23 homers,
right,
85 ribbies. And then they got the left-handed pitching. This is where I think that they have edge on a lot of teams during the year. Ryan Rodriguez is 9-0. Robert Fortenberry's 9-1. They got Trip Vanta too, another left-handed pitcher. They got some left-handed arms here that are going to really do
Right.
some damage. So I think Weatherford wins this. They're playing at home. Too many stars aligned for them. Not to say that any of these other clubs couldn't knock them off, but I just think the stars are aligned for Weatherford to go to Grand Junction this year.
That's a bold pick, and they've had a great season, so probably not. You speak about the left-handers. McLennan, however, has some experience, and how big will that play during this series? Or you just think Weatherford is just going to push play and go?
They battled it out during the year in the series when they played each other. It was 2 games apiece, and it was a knockdown, drag-out brawl and everything. And McLennan's not going to go quiet into the night, and neither is Midland or New Mexico. I mean, those teams have depth on the mound. They got some a good lineup to produce runs. So that's going to be one heck of a battle. I really excited about this region to watch and see what
Right.
happens here.
Yeah. Well, I'll hold tight with you for Weatherford because you certainly have seen them, but keep your eye on McLennan. Hey, moving over to the West, this is regions 1, 9, and 18. They start the 18th of May through the 21st. And you got some big news to announce out of this region.
Yeah, big news out of this is defending champion Central Arizona ran into a tough battle here with Arizona Western and got knocked off. Give Arizona Western a lot of credit. They've had a good
Wow.
team. They were ranked all year, but to knock out the defending national champion, who had a great year themselves, all those games were tight. Also, is 1-0 Arizona Western won the opener, then Central Arizona came back and won 2-0, and then it's just a barn burner for the final game to see who moves on. And Arizona Western got the best of them in a 5-4 knockdown drag out brawl. So it just so we won't get a repeat winner at Grand Junction this year. So Arizona Western moves on, and they're going to play Pima here in Region 1. They're going to battle it out. I think Arizona Western has a good, strong club, but I just think Pima's got too much depth, especially on the mound. They got Matt Cornelius, Anthony Imhoff, Alessandro Castro, Jaden Swanberg, all left-handed pitchers. I mean, they got a strong. We talked about Weatherford having left-handed pitching. Pima has left-handed pitching. They got depth. They got a good lineup. I just think that Pima prevails over Arizona Western.
Yeah, Arizona Western will be feeling good about themselves coming off a big win, knocking off the national champs, and but I don't think that Pima with that pitching staff backs down an inch, and so you're thinking Pima comes out ahead, and then Region 9.
It'll be interesting, Southeast, won 4 out of 6 against McCook. But McCook's had a good year also. But I see both of these teams because they're hosting. Region 9 is hosting this district this year, and they get 2 bids to it. So I think Southeast and McCook will both be in it, along with Pima. And then out of Region 18, I just think Southern Nevada's just had a great year,
Yeah.
and they're strong. They're looking strong. I think they come out of there and battle. Hunter Katchke's had 14 homers. He's hitting 403. Jackson Castillo's 15 homers, 424. I mean, to try to shut down those bats is going to be rough for anybody, but I really think that Pima's got the team to get that done, and I just think in a barn burner, I just have to Pima with a slight edge over Southern Nevada coming out of this district and heading to the Grand Junction World Series.
All right, here we are at a recap. Who's going to Grand Junction? Per Dream Big Athletics JUCO Jams predictions with Tad Slowick.
Yeah, and I think one thing I want to say, just we talked about how highly contested that all these regions and districts will be, and that just bodes well for junior college baseball in general. I mean, all these teams. I mean, there's a lot of teams who would be worthy to go to Grand Junction and make a great showing. But, and the interesting thing is when these teams get to Grand Junction, they're so battle tested and so ready, to get after it. But that's where the depth comes in, especially, in the pitching department. And, it'll be interesting to see who's got the depth to withstand everything at Grand Junction.
So just to recap, we've got Walter State, Gaston, Blinn, I like San Jack, let it be known, Iowa Western, Johnson County, Wallace Dothan, Central Florida, and Crowder, Weatherford, and out of the West is Pima.
Yeah, and any of these teams once they get here, I mean, that's a heck of a group of 10 teams. And the interesting thing will be was where they all get reseeded, and that's always an interesting process too. And Central Arizona lost the opening game last year and came back through the losers bracket, and ended up winning. And it's just going to be a dogfight. And all these teams have a lot of firepower, a lot of depth on the mound. But I really think at the end of the day, I think it's Central Florida's year, and I think Central Florida ends up winning this thing. Not in any easy fashion, though, that's for sure. Yeah, well, that wouldn't be too much on the line prediction. And they got enough pitching and depth, and they're bats. Especially on that light air on Colorado. If they get those bats going, I mean, it's going to be awfully tough to keep them in the ballpark with all those home runs they hit during the year. I just think that I mean, and all these teams. I mean, if you picked anybody, you would have a good reason to pick them. I mean, these teams are all quality teams, and I really think it's going to be one heck of a battle out there, regardless. I mean, Grand Junction's always a great atmosphere. People come out and support it, and it just the teams are just talk about getting after it, and everybody's running on adrenaline. I mean, at that time of the year, you get beat up a little bit, but all these teams are running on adrenaline and playing hard and getting after it. So it's an exciting event, and it'll be interesting to see how things work out. It was just a lot of fun to banter around a little bit here and give a little predictions, kind of stick our necks out. I mean, we may be wrong, but after seeing all these teams play this year, I feel pretty good about what we've done here prediction wise. Yeah. Right. Road to Grand Junction now. We'll have Road to Enid and Road to Greenville. So we'll get every team involved and just kind of, like I said, have fun and predict. And then, it's baseball. So, we'll see what happens that comes out. We already saw, like I said, Central Arizona get knocked out already. So anything can happen. And until we have this again and have some more fun talking about junior college baseball, it's good to see you, and I look forward to the next episode of the JUCO Jam podcast. Lou, you take care.